Hey everyone, Argolfumf here playing the Hardy Boys, The Hidden Theft. At the end of the previous video, the game accidentally spoiled its own plot twist by giving me the culprit's confession early. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the way that you're supposed to get the culprit's confession. You're supposed to get it from Mary by going to her place. Oh, wait, I can't visit her place yet. Yeah, I need to talk to Dad in order to leave the house. Oh yeah, I talked to Dad and Mom.
I smell French toast.
It's actually forgiveness toast.
Well, then it better be good.
The boys worked pretty hard at it. I saw them myself.
Yes, well, no offense, dear, but you're always rushing to their defense. I will admit it smells pretty good, though.
We're sorry, Mom.
Your father explained the situation to me. I don't believe a word he said, but you are forgiven.
That's my sugar muffin.
Could you guys hold off on the affection until we leave?
Fine by me. I have a plate of French toast to ravage before I can get to ravaging your father.
Well,
Ew, Mom.
So, we learned something new about Frank and Joe's parents. Yeah, the reason why Mr. and Mrs. Hardy don't appear in all of the books is because they're too busy ravaging each other. I didn't need to know that information. No, I did not.
Frank? Shh! Look over there.
What? Is that who I think it is?
It's Mary.
Shh! Don't let her see you.
She's not even looking in your direction, dude.
We've gotta... Someone's gotta... Why would she...
I don't know. Let's go see what she was doing over there.
Alrighty, so it's not 100% obvious what the Hardy Boys are doing here, but what they're doing is picking up a flower. They picked up a flower by the grave that was left behind by Mary Spencer. Cool. So that's the puzzle. Basically, you visit the nurse's station and you get the flower. Then you can talk to Mary in her house, and you will get the culprit's confession. That's how you're supposed to get the confession. That you're supposed to solve this puzzle first. You're not supposed to have it just randomly appear on your cell phone at the start of Chapter 4 for no real reason whatsoever.
Mrs. Spencer, may we speak with you?
Of course, dear.
Are you okay?
Whatever do you mean?
We saw you. At the nurse's station. You looked upset.
Oh, it must have been my allergies. The pollen count is extremely high this time of year.
You know, I do have a question for her. I thought she could never leave her wheelchair. How was she able to get up and walk to the nurse's station?
Do you know where Lily is?
I believe she went off to that coffee shop she frequents. It's called Mugshots, I believe.
It's a cool name for a coffee shop in a town that's filled with criminals.
We found the thief. His name was Richard Llewellyn. He was killed yesterday, but at least that's settled.
Is it?
Okay, and this is the conversation which will start her long confession. She'll explain everything here.
Does this flower belong to you?
What? Where?
We found it just outside the nurse's station.
Why did you take it? It belongs there.
Mrs. Spencer, what exactly is going on?
Dear, could you please make me some tea? This thief...
Richard.
Yes, Richard was my only son.
Your son? Richard was Samuel Spencer's nephew? That's quite a coincidence.
It isn't coincidence at all.
How do you mean?
I've known the Spencers all my life.
Now I'm confused.
Let me start from the beginning.
Yes, please.
My mother and father met while my father was interning at a small hospital. My mother was the head nurse, and they fell madly in love. When my father got the opportunity to be the staff physician at a nearby mental hospital, my mother came with him.
Ingram Asylum.
Yes, I was actually born on these very grounds. Ingram was a wonderful hospital, revolutionary for its time. Patients were treated more like guests. It was truly a place of healing. My parents lived on the grounds, and most other parents were reluctant to let their kids play near here. They called me Scary Mary, and I wasn't even a patient, so you can imagine how cruel they could be. My friends were usually children of the staff, or sometimes the patients.
Dougal Siepp.
Oh yes, I met him when we were both about 15. We were best friends. And then, the fire.
The fire that closed down the asylum?
Yes, the west wing went up like a tinder. I wasn't anywhere near the fire, but both of my parents.
They both died.
Dougal told me. I kept hitting him, and he just held me. After a while, Dougal and I grew apart, but I always felt connected to him somehow. And a few years later, we ran into each other again, and, well, Richard was the result.
But why would Richard want to steal from his own uncle?
I am afraid that's my fault.
Your fault? How?
The fire that killed my parents was no accident. It was caused by a single match lit by an angry and bitter young man.
Samuel.
Samuel. I've never forgiven him, and neither did my own son.
Wait a minute. Why didn't Samuel tell us any of this?
The fire was ruled an accident, but I know it wasn't. The last thing he wants is for that investigation to reopen. That's why he bought the mansion for a song from the government after the hospital closed. To be sure the truth was never learned. And there may be another reason.
Do tell.
He doesn't know who I am, and neither does Thomas.
What? How can that be?
People change quite a lot. I hadn't seen the Spencers since I was 15, remember? I didn't see Thomas again for many, many years. I changed my name, I changed my hair.
Mrs. Spencer, do you love Thomas?
Yes, I do. Now. But you're right in suspecting that this was all a plan to get back at Samuel. It was. After I fell in love with Thomas, I tried to get Richard to let it go, but he was even angrier at Samuel than I was. I even convinced Dougal to come visit him here, to try and talk him out of it, but it didn't work. The night before the theft, he gave me this confession. It's cryptic and frightening, not like Richard at all.
Aha! So that's why Dougal was in town.
He's a good man, and so was Richard. If he hadn't lived with my hate for so long, he wouldn't have done what he did. If anyone is to blame, it's me.
Or Samuel.
I don't even care about that anymore. I'm happy here. I love Thomas. Thomas loves Lily. I just want this whole thing to be over with. It isn't worth anything. First my parents, then my only son.
How's your tea, dear? Are you all right?
Thank you, Thomas. Boys, would you excuse Thomas and I? We have some things to talk about.
Of course. Thank you, Mrs. Spencer. Mr. Spencer.
Okay, so a lot of information to digest there, and yeah, that's how you're supposed to get the culprit's confession. So, wow, okay, so Dougal and Mary had their child, and that was Richard, the criminal culprit. Wow, okay, so, wait, how is Dougal related to the Spencers then? If Richard's uncle is Mr. Spencer,
It's a fountain. Pretty, sure, but useless.
Why are we talking about fountains? Anyway, I wanted to show you, something else. So, the Ingram Asylum, we haven't heard about that before, but it's here in the bottom right-hand corner of the loading screen. So how did Frank and Joe learn about the asylum? How did they know that Spencer Mansion used to be an asylum? Did I just miss that part or something? Or have they been looking at the loading screen? I do not know.